Ready? Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7:01 PM.
Yeah.
You stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Presentation, oh, sorry. Can we get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved with the amended, amenities,
Amendments.
amendments,
Yeah.
amendments.
We'll get it out yet.
Moving on, presentations, proclamations, and visitors. Are there any visitors online? None here signed up? Moving on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. Moving on to public hearings. There are no public hearings this evening. No old business. Moving on to new business, West Tech EJCDC service agreement. We now have Matt Etzel.
All right. Matt Etzel, Assistant Public Works Director. And before you, you have the West Tech EJCDC contract. So we had to update our contract with West Tech Engineering to meet some USDA requirements in order to have them do the full final design on the wastewater treatment plant and to do the construction services portion of that project. We had to convert our city engineer contract and do a EJCDC contract. This took several months. We went back and forth with the attorney, West Tech, USDA, our insurance agent, city staff, just to make sure this contract was right. And I think what's before you is the most current version. West Tech will sign the contract and then it'll be ready for us to finish and execute with signatures. So if you guys have any questions.
I have a question. So is this the most current one or the one in our book, the most current one?
The one that's stapled.
This one?
Yes.
So what are the major differences between this one and the one we've already had a chance to read?
There was some insurance,
Yeah, I think there was a question about insurance, so we put a insurance threshold in there, and then our engineer typically doesn't carry that level. And so that was some discussion. We had to make a change to be consistent with our previous contract. There were some date changes that were in there, and then there was a reference to an exhibit in the contract. I want to say it was Exhibit M, but our city attorney didn't actually have an exhibit. They took the exhibit out and put a paragraph of language in there.
It's not in here, it's in.
It's in the language was always in your packet. It's the reference to the exhibit that didn't exist, we took out. So really, it was a lot of Scribner type, other than the discussion about insurance, which we didn't change. So that
Nothing
didn't
major
change.
content.
Yep.
And I did go over that last week with Kirsty when I was in to meet with her on something else. So I've had this all over the weekend to review and I didn't see anything that was.
Yeah, this was like a template USDA gave us, so then we went in and edited our information. West Tech did the project scope. This is their general, USDA's general contract that they say kind of covers everything for them.
Are there any other questions? Now, is there?
Yeah.
Your motion?
I move to approve the EJCDC contract between West Tech and the city of Aumsville as presented by staff.
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to 6B, phone system selection. Matt?
Yeah, so, couple months ago, we were going through some repairs on our phone system and we found that, our phone system is no longer serviceable. And, we can't get parts for it. We can't find anyone to come out and work on it. They no longer make a potted line phone system for a business or local government like us. Everyone's going to an internet-based phone system. And so we've had issues at the police department with, like, when they would get a call, if they were on a line, it would drop down to the next line, someone would be able to answer it, or it'd kick to dispatch immediately if someone wasn't there. Some of those features stopped working. The emergency phone out front of City Hall has stopped working. We tried for months and months to try to get someone to come out and work on the equipment, and no one will come out and work on it. So we started a process. We got a committee together with all the different departments. We talked about everyone's needs, what each department needed in a phone system. City Hall's needs are a lot different than Public Works. I joked with them, our need was, it needs to ring and we need to be able to answer it. They wanted to be able to transfer and do different things. And so everyone got together, talked about what our needs were and put those in a list, and then developed an RFP. We put the RFP out to several different vendors, and then the committee scored the RFPs or the proposals, and we decided on the Right Systems proposal. We think this covers the city really well, and we were actually pretty surprised to see as we went through and broke down the cost. It's actually will save the city money over time than what we're currently paying right now for the old outdated system that can't be serviced. So there is a little bit of upfront money to buy the equipment and to have them program the phones and get everything set up. But over the 3-year life cycle, we'll save quite a bit of money. And you'll see that in the financial statement in the staff report. We'll save about $13,000 over the 3-year cycle of this phone system. The nice thing about this equipment is the city is going to purchase all the phones and the equipment. And so if we don't like the service provider, we can always switch to a different service provider after 3 years. Or if they jack the prices up or something like that, we have the ability to take on another provider at that time with this equipment. That was one of our requirements in the RFPs, that we were able to purchase our own equipment. So we have that flexibility if things aren't working out. It's also good timing. We'll save some money by incorporating the whole city at once. Our Public Works facility is just about to be complete. And so we're able to put this phone system in our new Public Works facility, not have to worry about trying to transfer over an old system that doesn't work into the new facility. And the programming and setup, doing that citywide will save us some money too, so.
Are there any questions?
And this fits into the current city budget? Where's this money?
Yep, so we have money in the office equipment replacement. And that's where that money is going to come out of. The service fee, we will go over a little bit in the telecom line item, but overall in our the total city budget for this line will be fine in. But just as a telecom, we pay that monthly fee. We pay about $650 per month to Ziply. And with the right systems, we'll have to pay 3 years up front. So we're pretty much we're quite a ways through the budget cycle. We've been paying that $650 every month. So that specific line will be over, but the city or that the total budget for that fund will be fine.
Yeah, it'll be financed through our major office equipment reserve line item. So we'll be okay. And then as Matt explained, over time, we'll start to save money back on the service. It's a 3-year contract that we pay in this particular situation versus the monthly. But Josh and I have looked at the budget. We're gonna be good there. I think there's also a continuity of operations benefit with these IP phones. Because once they're programmed with a number, you can take those to a different location and that number will ring as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi. So there's going to be other applications as this propels us into the future that'll help us prepare for other.
I can add that we had that system where I worked and we were able to transport it from Corvallis to Silverton to Newburgh, McMinnville, anywhere that we ended up working or doing signings. And it's a great system. You can log in to get your voicemails wherever you are, whole thing.
Yeah,
It's really
there's
good.
a lot of, you'll see that in the RFP. We had quite a few things, but come to find out a lot of that stuff's standard, like the voicemail to text or email. Like if you get a voicemail, it'll go straight to your email. So you can see it if you're out in the field. That's great for public works, or the police department. They can get a voicemail in the field. And so there is a lot of really cool features. And like I said, we were really surprised to find out over the life, it's a lot cheaper.
Will you be able to keep all the same numbers?
Yes, so we're gonna port the current city phone numbers over as part of this process, and then once that process is complete, then we can drop off the Ziply potted phone line numbers, but the phone numbers, yeah, will be the same.
Does this mean that an actual physical phone on the desk is gonna go away?
No, that's part of the equipment. The phones that we're getting, again, our committee met and we're like, what kind of phone do we want? Do we want to be able to have 12 lines displayed? Do we want 8? Do we need, how many do we need? And so each desk will have its own phone. Like Ron said, there's a lot of benefits to it. If you have internet, if someone needs to work from home, they can unplug their phone, take it home, and someone in the office can transfer to that person at home. And they can work remotely from home and answer phone calls. So, yeah,
Fantastic.
it's a pretty great system.
So if the internet goes down, does that mean our phones go down as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's the way just about every business is anymore,
Yeah,
because
okay.
it's all you can really get.
And to be honest, that was my biggest concern, because I was like, oh man, the
That's
potted
why I
lines
asked.
have always been so reliable and stuff, but we asked around and we were trying to get someone to give us a quote for a potted line system, and they just don't do it anymore. They don't make those systems, and everyone's going to this internet based, and they feel like the reliability's there. And with these savings, we can look into some upgrades to our internet at City Hall and the different departments, possibly in the future. So maybe make it more reliable, but
Yeah, we had that same work. The issue at our work, what we made sure is that our company's cell phones, internet service or cell service, so we can have a backup phone.
okay, yeah.
The same thing we did.
Another great thing about fiber is when the power goes out, the information is coming from another source. I only know that from experience from our freeze a few years ago. That's one thing to look at.
Yeah, and there's some things our IT department talked to us about, like there's ways they can set up the phones too, so that they are more reliable. Like if the internet speeds go down, then it bumps the phone lines as a priority and drops everything else. Email, video, conferencing, all that stuff drops down, and the phone service goes to the top of the priority list so that it's the most reliable. And we've talked to them about making sure that's how we set it up.
A lot of good work. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Done hard for it.
Yeah, it was,
So
it
really,
was,
yeah.
it was a lot of work, but like I said, it was really rewarding to see that it's actually gonna save the city some money and we're gonna have a system that everyone's happy with. All the departments got what they needed.
I really appreciate the time and talking to staff.
If there are no further questions, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the Right System Inc.'s proposal for 33,549.66, along with upgrades to the existing fire and security alarm system in the amount of $1,549 as presented by staff.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to 6B, 2024 Aumsville Corn Festival Grand Marshal nominations. Ron?
Well, there, now that Matt did all the hard work, I actually can work with council on a little fun project here. So, as council knows, a few years ago, council wanted to be directly involved in picking our grand marshal for the Corn Festival Parade. And the last time we brought this to council, I think a couple of months ago, council directed us to do a little outreach, try to pull some names together on a list. I think council each, or not everybody, but some of the council members had some names that they put forward. And so we've compiled those into a list. A couple of these are from last year. But we put them on there just so that you had those options. And there's a list of folks here, and really it's a council-driven initiative. So there's no recommendation from staff other than the list. And if there's any questions that you might have about folks on the list, I'll try to answer those if you'd like.
I would just like to say that I nominated the Shetler family. They own Blazers and they have been very instrumental in getting the food pantry open with us this last year, as well as supporting a lot of our other things for many years in the community. And I think it would be nice if we would consider recognizing them for their contributions when we really needed help this year.
And they can bring their own car.
They can bring-
So there's an
I-
added benefit.
I did want to add a name to the list if possible. I still would like to nominate Rocio Diaz from the Migrant Education Program. She does a lot of work within the community, and I was looking at definitions of grand marshals online and what they represent. And what I found was when you're selecting a grand marshal, like online, it's so subjective, right? But it was basically saying it's somebody that holds the community, brings them together, and also uplifts the event or function. And I just want to bring that as we're talking about who we're picking, when we think about putting someone in the grand marshal position, right? That being said, also, I think has Mike Klein already been, or?
Yes.
Yes, so
He has, and he declined in the comments if you actually read.
Yeah.
I would pull the Grinch off of there. That was just, somebody said it online and we put it
I was
down.
also gonna ask about conflicts of interest, like we have staff.
The Grinch is busy that day.
Yes.
So-
I think he still has community service. And I don't know who Ryan is.
I do, and he's runs the Shop and Save.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he has been very generous with the Exchange Club, by donating turkeys for our food baskets that we gave at.
Yep.
We did those in donating water for events to our group.
Also super friendly to the public.
He's a really nice
Every time I
guy.
go into that store, he's just, how you doing? So, yeah.
They own actually the 2 gas stations and the grocery store that the
Yes.
family does.
Okay,
One that drives around in the red pickup.
yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, the very, very nice family. Does anyone else have any comments?
Who's Dave, Medlock? I didn't know that.
Dave Metlock.
Online, you just
Yeah.
had to read the comments.
Mm.
I would second.
It's like a couple of them were nominated because they make people laugh online. I mean, we need to be serious about who we're picking and the contribution they've made over a period of time to our community.
I like
Second.
Pastor Mike Klein because he actually volunteered a lot of time with the Cascade Little League. He's also very friendly with the public. I know he kind of turned it down in the public comments on Facebook.
But normally if somebody has already done it, we don't.
Oh, I
ask them
didn't
to
realize.
go
Yeah.
again.
Okay.
I think he was was it 2 or
Years
3
ago.
years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
that's
Yeah.
okay.
Second, the shelter family.
Well, when people make a good impression and their continual activity level is high, then their names rise to the top,
Okay.
so.
Right.
The only time we've had grand marshals that reappeared was when we did the 50th and we had all of the past ones that were still alive come and be on a float. But we still had a grand marshal that year as well, so.
It's a tough
Yeah.
decision, and the reason
It
being
is.
is because we do have a lot of active folks in the community that do make an impression, a lasting impression, and so I'm glad you guys have taken over this duty and
There are
willing to take
definitely
it
a lot
on
of good
for
names
us.
on this.
Does this decision need to be made tonight, or can we take this list and think about it and come back to? Next
Well,
meeting?
see, we could put it off, maybe till the next council meeting if you guys would like to.
Just need to make sure we decide in time to invite them so they have time to be.
Well, and
available
we want to
for
make sure,
anything.
we want to make sure they're available. We want to do a write-up in the newsletter. And so, we just sent off the April, so it would be the May if we do. We could put it off to the next meeting if that's council's desire.
Can we do, not what it's called?
A poll.
Yes, thank you. Can we do a poll for council to?
For council?
Yeah,
So
for
send
council.
out just to council?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
and can we add Rocio to that name list?
we can do whatever you
Okay.
would like. Yeah, this is.
You had mentioned her before anyway.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'd actually like to, Angie, hear a little bit more about her because it would be a good opportunity to acknowledge somebody. Also acknowledge that community.
Yeah.
That aspect of the community. So
So,
like it two things at the same time, kind of.
so could I make a recommendation because the list is quite large? And it conceivably you all could vote for somebody in the poll differently. What I would make a suggestion is that by the end of the week, council sends in a little write-up about the candidate that they prefer. And staff will pare that down based on the write-ups we receive. And then we'll send the poll out with the little write-up. Because we can put a description in the poll. And then that might narrow down to where we get more people saying my first and second choice line up here. And might help us come to a decision quicker. Does that sound reasonable to council?
Having the first choice, second choice, third choice, that'd be amazing idea.
Mhm.
Then it'll probably knock out some of these other
Yeah,
potentials. And then once we get like top 3, it'll help us.
okay, so just leave everybody on the list and we'll rank them. And then that'll pare us down.
That's what I think.
Okay,
I think that'd work the best. And also it does not happen often, but there have been circumstances where a consensus candidate has come forth and then we approach them and then they decline or they're
Yeah.
yeah,
on vacation during that week, so they're declining. And so I think just, I think having a ranking is important, especially if we come to 1 or 2 people that, consensus and then, oh, they decline to do it, so.
well, and you could conceivably have the majority pick the same person for their second choice, but then be far apart on the first choice. And then the
Right.
second choice would prevail. Right?
Can we remove the Grinch and Mike Klein?
I already did that.
Okay,
Okay, all right, well, we'll put that together for you. We'll send it out and then we'll bring that back for action at the next council meeting.
okay.
We're gonna do the poll or like the.
We're gonna do
choices
ranked choice. We'll come up with a ranked choice poll.
For the next meeting.
I'm gonna try to do it before the end of the week.
Perfect.
Okay.
Because the
And then
longer we
when did
have,
you-
the longer we have to put everything together, the better we can do it.
Did you still want us to?
No,
submit
let's do
something
the
on
ranked
our-
choice.
Okay.
I
I
mean,
want to answer Doug's question about Rocio.
go,
well,
yeah, let's
okay.
go ahead and do that.
So Rocio Diaz is the coordinator for the Cascade School District in the Migrant Education Program. I don't know how many families she's serving right now. When I first met her, she was serving 82 families in the school district. The majority of them were coming out of Aumsville from preschool all the way to ages of 21. She used to live in Aumsville. She continues to work here. Her office is out of the elementary school. She is a liaison for families that work within the migrant education program, which does not necessarily meaning that they're immigrants. Anybody in the state of Oregon who has to move for certain agricultural work for a period of 3 days is considered migrant. And if they have children in the ages of preschool to 21, they qualify for migrant education services. She is a liaison for the community and resources within the school district and the state. She helps, she teaches monthly classes for families involved in the program. She's also the frontline communication for people who end up not speaking English to get services or communicate within their communities and school district. A lot of the work, the reason I pick her is because a lot of the work that she does is goes unnoticed. But if you have any more questions, I can send more information to you.
Also helped connect the Exchange Club with a needy family at Christmas. Angie got to go shopping with me for groceries and for them and
So her
really nice.
work extends beyond just what the school.
Yes, yeah. They have very limited funding in their program from the school district. It goes, yeah, there's a lot of things that, like we do, there's a lot of things that we do within our community that people don't know about. I think most of the people on this list do things for the community that people don't know about.
I think it would still be nice to have a little bit of a private thing because
Okay, how about if we go back to the original plan? Send me your write-ups by Friday. We'll try to get the poll out and we'll include the write-ups. The write-ups may not be embedded in the poll. We might send those as just a background correspondence, but if we can get it in the poll, we'll do that depending on how lengthy they are.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll pick some. Yep.
Moving on to number 7, city administrator report, Ron.
I don't really have a report other than what we've talked about at the last meeting. We're still waiting for the governor to sign 5701. We keep watching that. Otherwise, we're just doing a bunch of work at City Hall, trying to keep our head above water. We are preparing, starting to do the preparations for this year's budget cycle, which is added work, but there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes for us to be able to do that. And I'll probably come forward either at the next meeting or the following meeting with some recommendations. This is our year to do our citywide salary surveys. And so I've got that about 80–90% of the way done. And what we do is, because we don't have a union, but we want to make sure that our staff have an opportunity to come forward with and raise concerns or, and to look at the data themselves so they feel comfortable with the information that we're presented. So they choose a member from each department. There's a committee that does the review. And then the committee provides recommendations to me if they're within the budget. If they're sound recommendations consistent with industry standard or within the budget, then I bring those forward to council. So we'll be doing that in the next two meetings. And then once we get confirmation from council that our recommendations are supported, then we can finish building the budget. But COLAs have settled down a little bit from their all-time highs. So that's a good news story. You know, you always worry about COLAs when they're going from, 6 to 9% or something like that, and the impact that could have on the budget, but that's starting to settle down a little bit. And for the most part, our industry comparables are really good. There's a few that we'll recommend adjusting, but for the most part, they're looking good. So I don't expect any major shakeups with that. And that's really about it. We've got the Public Works facility project that's continuing, and Public Works is over there, I think, every day. Checking on it. I was in the loft area today. I think it's about 1,800 square feet. It was the first time I got to go up there, and so we're building an 8,000 square foot building, but we're really getting a 10,000 square foot building because part of it's 2-story. And that'll provide Public Works the ability to put equipment and inventory up there that, they won't have to run all the way down to the end of the corridor there to get a fitting or coupling or whatever they might need. So that's moving along. We'll come forward that project. It's got a couple of small changes. We'll probably need some additional equipment that we haven't authorized yet, but we've been trying to just authorize it as we actually have needed to, because we want to make sure that at the end of the day, we've got enough budget available. So we're not trying to put in too many frills. But there will be some equipment we'd like to have as part of the operation out there, but some of that stuff could get put off if we needed to. So working on that. Our reservoir project, I think their permits have been issued, right? Yep. Permits have been issued. We were waiting for the permits to come back. And so I think they're mobilizing and getting ready to start to do the prep work. So that's kind of exciting. And then, of course, we're knee deep into this wastewater project and all that goes along with that. So we'll keep working towards that end. That's about it. Happy to answer any questions if you have any. Just a reminder for community events, Easter is next weekend, next Saturday. And it's in Mill Creek Park. I think it starts at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
10 o'clock. It's over at 10:10.
It goes fast.
If you want to
If you
come, you
want
want
the
to come
park
early to
clean,
park.
If you want the park clean, throw some eggs and candy out in the grass and they clean it. So yeah, that'll be a great event. And most of the eggs, the Girl Scouts came last week and stuffed eggs. So there's quite a few eggs ready to go, and we've got little prizes and treats. And then our volunteer appreciation social is the 12th of April. So get that on your calendar. I believe 6 to 8 was the time. And if you haven't gotten an invitation, you will. Because we want you there to help us thank the volunteers. We don't really have a program. It's kind of like a drop-in, but it's just to come and mingle with the volunteers and say thank you. And I'm not sure how many show up. Traditionally, volunteers typically don't like to have to come to something to be recognized. So they like to just come and volunteer, but hopefully we'll get a good turnout. of volunteers, because we're planning a nice social for them. And then, of course, the calendar event just starts to steamroll on from there. Circus, I talked to them today. We're doing kind of a save the date spread in the newsletter with some pictures of the circus. They're ordering tickets and everything, and then once the tickets come in, then we can actually start ticket sales. We're kind of getting a late start this year, so I don't know, I'm not thinking that we're just gonna max out capacity or anything, but really the downside for us is $290, so it's a great event for the community for $290. Now, obviously, tickets have to be sold, and maybe we'll get that in return and then some. But as we get accustomed to doing that, then we'll get a lot of people that'll.
Are the
return.
tickets gonna be sold online or through,
Well, we'll sell tickets, the city will sell tickets once we get them. And we could probably set it up to do online as well here, but we could link to their online website, and then those tickets are available. They buy them and then pick them up at the door. Is the way that they do their tickets. But
Like
we'll
local.
have physical tickets we can sell too. Yeah.
Do you have any flyers or posters about it?
Yeah, and we've got all of the material, so we're kind of doing a save the date in the newsletter, and then as soon as we get the tickets, then we'll put the posters out, because that's when we'll spur people to actually pull the trigger and buy a ticket. So yeah, we've got all the artwork. We just have to put it together for the.
As I say that we're gonna have, the exchange will have a table at the Kinderfest on May 4th. And so if we had anything
Yeah, we'll have
passed out
that.
at that time,
Yeah,
we could
just
do that.
remind me to get you some posters and
Okay.
yeah.
Would the Stop and Save, or is there a business that would be willing to sell tickets for us?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I think the difficulty is we gotta have an accounting for the tickets. So we can't do we can't put them in every retail location, because they have to be paid for. So it's like money. So we'd have to have some way to secure that. But we haven't really put together a game plan for selling tickets. We thought like the exchange might want to sell tickets because, at their different events, they're accustomed to doing that kind of stuff. And we give them a set number of stuff and they return it back with a ledger type thing. So we've done it with the bank before. We haven't really put a game plan together other than we're going to sell them at City Hall, but we could do that. I mean, we could do whatever with it. I was going to try, if we have capacity, to maybe try to get some businesses to donate a certain dollar amount towards ticket purchases. One of the things that I did years ago with this program was we would call the businesses and we'd get a donation for so many tickets, and then we'd take them to the school, the elementary school, and give them to the kids. And then they didn't have to pay for a ticket for the kids. And that's something that we're kind of talking about. If that works, then we really don't need to do a retail thing, but we don't have all the details ironed out yet. We just kind of started with it. So anytime you can get the kids to go do something for free or less cost to the family, I like to do that. And they're $8 a ticket. You can donate 10 tickets for $80. It's a pretty low ask people to donate 10 tickets. And if you could give them to the third grade class or the fourth grade class, you could reach a lot of families.
All right, moving on to mayor and council reports. Does anyone have anything to report?
We have our SCATS meeting tomorrow, and it's on the agenda to vote Aumsville in or not on operative agreement. And if that passes and is signed, then we would change bylaws to match it. Be an interesting meeting tomorrow.
Want to be part of that?
It's a public meeting you can watch.
No, I mean, You said they're gonna vote Aumsville in
They're going
the
to vote. Well, we've been put in by the federal government.
Oh, the. federal-
It's a formality to have them vote for us to join. But until they vote for us to join, we don't get any say in what they choose. So that's, it would be better sooner than later that we got a say on things. So I attend the one for the elected officials and Matt attends the one for the technical advisors for.
Is there anything for good of the order? Moving on, there are no correspondence. There is no executive session, and with that, we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 7:42 PM.